Good afternoon, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. I hope you're all doing well on this. What's the day today? Tuesday afternoon, isn't it? It is a Tuesday or Monday afternoon, should I say? A Monday afternoon. There we go. We got there in the end. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Please, before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please don't forget to smash a like on the video. That would be great. It's very important that you smash likes on the video. So basically, we can get the algorithms and stuff like that going and stuff like that, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Of course, guys, I'll have my special guest on very soon. Big up, Danny B. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you, mate. Really good to see you. Guys, yeah. So, look, you know what? I will be talking a lot about Manchester United today. We'll be talking about where Man United, what direction Man United should go in. If you need to ask any questions, go forward with the questions. I'm absolutely, I can read out the questions and stuff like that. But, you know, it is a lot. There's a lot of conflicting stories about Manchester United and the direction that we're going to be going in. Of course, guys, there is a direction that Man United are going in. And to be honest with you, it's conflicted. Are Man United going to spend money? Are Man United going to go cheap? What's going to happen? You know, we have to keep this in mind. We have to bear this in mind. Because it is an important question that I'm going to be asking Ben Jacobs in a bit, guys. In a little bit, he is running a little bit late, but he will be with us very, very soon, guys. Of course, I hope you're all doing well. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. If you guys can do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. So, look, you know what? There has been a lot of stories out there. Obviously, there's news about Cunha wanting to leave Wolves. Would you be happy with Cunha leaving Wolves? Would you be happy with getting Cunha from Wolves, should I say, in regards to that? I mean, is he a signing you would want at Man United? Has he really performed this season? I'm not too sure. I think he had a better season last season. I don't think he's been that good this season, if you ask me, in my humblest of opinion, guys. To be honest, but we'll have to say wait and see. Good afternoon. What's going on, Grayo? Afternoon, bro. I hope you're well. 45 minutes away, Sal. Can all the please smash the likes and subscribe button? We are ahead of a 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, Grayo. We will get there, of course. Big up Danny B and Grayo in the house, of course, guys. Big up you two legends, of course, guys. Thank you so much for joining me as well, you people, of course, guys. Absolutely, but. Yeah, it is a bit conflicting in regards to Manchester United. Oh, we have to sell to buy. What's going to happen with Anthony? You know, is Anthony going to stay at Man United? His performances have been highlighted this recent weeks, and he's doing pretty well. Will Anthony come back to Man United? What do you say, guys? Will he come back to Man United after his decent performances for Real Betis? Does he want to come back? That's another question. At the end of the day, you know what, we could say, like, you know what, a lot of things about players coming in, players going out. They have to want to come in. They have to want to leave as well. That is important as well, guys. Of course, we may need to we may need to push some of these players out. You know what I mean? We might have to do that, of course. Absolutely. But yeah, it is interesting. And to be honest with you, I would say that, I'm looking forward to the summer, guys, because the summer is going to be interesting. This summer, more than most summer, is going to be interesting. And, Man United, now 1 minute we're linked with the likes of Victor Osimhen and Gutierrez. The next, we got no money and we have to penny pinch and we have to find a young player going on. And that's what I want to clear up at the end of the day. And could Man United be selling the likes of one of Garnacho or Maidu just to fund these transfers? You know, could they be doing that? I mean, let's wait and see, of course, guys. Big up Danny Big, big up, of course, Grayo as well, you legends. Guys, you're an hour early today. I'm the normal time. Time has gone forward in England. I see time has gone forward in England, so I go by the English time. Basically, because the time has gone forward over here where I am, it stays the same. So the time actually it doesn't move for me, but it does move for Europe. Basically, I go at 5 instead of 6 and 10 instead of 11 during the morning. Of course, guys. Big up Icy, by the way. Thank you so much. I think Betis pay up to 30 million. That would be a good deal. I think so as well, Danny B. I really do. I think that would be a great deal for Manchester United. I really do think that would be good because, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes what you have to look at is that, you know, certain players fit certain clubs. And I would say that, you know, it hasn't quite worked out for Anthony at Man United. For whatever reason that is, he just doesn't fit the Premier League. I mean, of course, the Premier League is a different animal. It is a different animal. And, you know, we could talk all day long about the difficulties of the Premier League and you know what, the certain, you know, characteristics that you need in the Premier League. And sometimes you can do well in Spain, you can do well in Italy, but when you play in the Premier League, it is a different ball game, of course, a completely different ball game, of course, guys. Absolutely. I will be getting my special guest on very, very soon, guys. Please hang in there, guys. Thank you so much. Big up, Kenny. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. 30 minutes, 40 minutes for Anthony would be a good deal. I think so. But the whole issue is, will Real Betis pay for Anthony? Will they pay for Anthony? And that is the question going forward. You know, that is the question I would like to know, because at the end of the day, there is talk about Real Betis wanting to loan Anthony again. They want to loan Anthony again, and we can't go down that road anymore. That road is finished for us. We can't go down that. You know what I mean? You know, keep him on loan again until his contract expires. There we are. His contract expires, and you know what? I don't think we can do that, to be honest with you. Absolutely not. I think Man United need the money. I think Man United need to sell, and I think Man United need to get some money for transfers for the summer and to fit Ruben Amorim's system, because there are certain players that might be good, but they might not be good enough for Man United and good enough for Ruben Amorim's system, more importantly, in my opinion. And I feel like, you know what, let's wait and see the summer. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited about it. And let's see what happens in regards to that. It is a very, very important summer for Ineos. I mean, some people say last summer was their inaugural summer. I actually think this is the more important summer. The reason being is because it is their man. It's their man. It's Ruben Amorim, and he's the guy that they brought into the football club. And are they going to back him? Are they going to back him? Well, you know what? A lot depends on Man United qualifying for the Champions League. Of course it does. In regards to winning the Europa League. That's our only avenue into the Champions League. There's no other avenue for Man United to reach unless something miraculous happens in the Premier League. There is no other avenue for Man United to reach the Champions League. So we have to win that Europa League. And of course, everything will boil down to this Europa League, of course, guys. And I really hope that Man United beat Lyon. I hope we don't go out in the river. We're disappointingly against Lyon. We're looking at the final and we get knocked out by Lyon. We have to be ready for these games, guys. These games want it just as much as us. These teams want it just as much as us. So we really have to hope that Manchester United win the game against Lyon. And, you know, it looks likely. It's not 100%. Glasgow Rangers won't like me for saying likely, but it looks likely that Athletic Bilbao will be in the semi-final and they will be playing Man United or Lyon. And, Lyon is a passionate place. I've been to Lyon. I've been to the old Stade Golland. I watched Man United play there, and it is a difficult place to go to be honest with you. Danny, Gutierrez and Arden Jashir would be my favourite Chatterbox to go and get now. You snooze, you lose, isn't it, Danny B, at the end of the day? But it does depend on Man United's budget, of course. Man United will sell the likes of Rashford and Anthony. So it is going to be interesting this summer, you know, at the end of the day. I want to know what Man United's transfer strategy is. I want to know, what are we going to go? Are we going to go for expensive, one or two expensive, then the rest we're going to go cheap, or are we just going to go cheap or up and coming? I wouldn't say cheap. I would say bargain hunting, so to speak. I wouldn't say cheap, because these players might turn out to be absolute worldies. We never know, isn't it, at the end of the day? So don't want to disrespect them too much, guys. But yeah, the transfer strategy is very, very important. And what happens this summer, I'm looking forward to be honest with you, with cautious optimism. Not so much giddy, not overzealous. I'm looking forward to it with cautious optimism, guys. Absolutely. But definitely, Man United need transfers. Man United need players in. There are players available. Of course there is. Of course, we spoke about there's Cunha, who wants to leave Wolves, you know, and that's a big one as well. Do you know what I mean? So Man United interested in Cunha. I mean, Cunha wanting to leave Wolves, that's a big one. You know, there will be a number of clubs who are interested in Cunha. And I think Man United need, you know, somewhat. I mean, he will be a good signing for Man United. Look, personally, I'll be honest with you guys, personally, I don't think Cunha has been as good as he could have been this season. I think last season was his best season. And I don't think he's been absolutely setting the world alight, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't think he's set the world alight, so to speak, guys. Absolutely not. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, of course, guys. Absolutely. But one thing's for certain, there will be a merry-go-round this summer. There will be a lot of noise this summer. And you know what? There will be a lot of disappointments, excitement, overreaction. There will be a lot, guys, and I'm looking forward to it. But hopefully, Manchester United win the Europa League, because if we win the Europa League, it really does set us up nicely, to be honest with you guys. It really does, guys. Absolutely. Hi, Red Devils United. Big up, my friend. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Sal, we've hit with 2 mic. Thanks, everyone. Much appreciated. Thank you. 71. 50 likes is good. 50 likes is good for me. I like the 50. We'll go from 50. We'll go to 100. That's what we need to do. We need to get those likes up, guys. Very important we get those likes up. Absolutely. Very important we get those likes up. Of course, guys. Big up, Rich, by the way. Thank you so much for joining me, Rich. Absolutely. Big up, of course. Absolute legend, of course, guys, in the chat. Everyone is a legend in the chat today. Joining me for Chatterbox, of course, guys. But very, very important. If you have any questions to ask, guys, going forward, let me know. Just drop a comment, and we go from there, of course, with the questions, because obviously, you know what? There's some people, you know what, want to know something. And you know what? I've got a great guest on today. One of my favorite journalists and stuff, which is Ben Jacobs, and a friend of the show as well. So, look, guys, it's going to be very, very exciting and interesting this summer. And I keep saying that, I know, but it is. Because it's not only about being on Fraud Watch, it's also about understanding that, you know what, where Ineos are going with Manchester United. Are they focused on what's happening on the pitch, or are they just focused on the business? And that's what it is at the end of the day. We all know business is important, but what we have to understand is that so is the football pitch. You know what I mean? We want success on the football pitch. Man United haven't been starved of success. We won trophy here and there, but challenging for the league title is Man United's bread and butter. Challenging for Champions Leagues is Man United's bread and butter, guys. Absolutely. And I would say let's wait and see, and let's stay a little bit positive. We can ask questions. We can criticize. That is football. Obviously, hopefully we don't jump and we don't turn on a manager, because the manager has come in at a time when it was extremely difficult, at a time where, you know what, we were losing games already with a unique formation and with players that are not his, basically. And he's had to change, go from the bottom of the sea all the way up to the surface, trying to fix this football team. And it's going to be difficult, and it is going to take time, of course, guys. We have to understand that, and we have to appreciate that, you know what, sometimes it does take time. Sometimes that life throws these things, these curveballs at you, and you have to dodge them. You have to dodge them. And hopefully Ruben Amorim will dodge all the curveballs that are going to be thrown at him. So far, I would say he's done okay. So far, I say he's done good, considering the circumstances. In my humblest of opinion, I think he's done good given the circumstances, of course, guys. But let's wait and see what happens in the summer. Of course, it's all hearsay at the moment. And you know what? We might crop up with a new signing, of course, coming up very soon, and with a new name that we've never heard of before. And there you go, of course, guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. But guys, any questions you want to ask, drop the questions in. We will get the questions in, of course, guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to next season, to be honest. As a Man United fan, I'm looking forward to next season, and hopefully Man United do the business in the summer, and we are prepared for next season. It is going to be interesting. The likes of Rashford, the likes of Anthony, it is going to be interesting coming, you know, going forward. Will Anthony stay at Betis? Will Rashford stay at Aston Villa? Who knows? But you know what? That does determine how well we're going to do this summer. What we're going to do this summer, of course, guys. Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll have to wait and see what happens, of course, guys. And let's go. Glory, glory, Man United all the way. Of course, just waiting for my guest, guys. Ben Jacobs will be with us in a second. And guys, yeah, a very good guest, of course. I've been on the show before, as we know. And yeah, we're going to speak all things Manchester United, all things transfers and etc. And let's see what he has to say about Man United's future aspirations in the transfer market. So let's wait and see what happens in regards to that, of course, guys. Absolutely. Very, very, very important that, you know what, clarity is something that we haven't had for a while, isn't it? Absolutely. How much do you think Batiste will pay Nate for sign Anthony? About 30 million. Absolutely. I'm going to get my guest on right now, guys. Let me welcome Ben Jacobs back to the show. How you doing, Ben? Really good.
Hey, great to be here. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, pal. I'm very, very, very well. Thank you for joining me. I know you're really busy, but obviously I wanted to talk to you about the transfer market of Manchester United. I know you're a Leicester fan, Ben. I know you must get all the time with Manchester United, but I wanted to ask you about Man United's transfer strategy over the summer. We're hearing conflicting reports about we're going to go for Osimhen or Gutierrez or even Cunha, but then we're hearing that we're going to be kind of saving money or going for bargains or going for the cheap option, so to speak. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I don't think it's cheap or expensive. I think when you look at any total spend within a window, it's better to have in your mind the net rather than a specific ballpark or war chest. And the reason for that is obviously because if they generate money in sales, they can spend more. If they don't, then the PSR position is tighter. So at one extreme, Gyökeres is bound to be linked because of the Ruben Amorim connection, but they've not made a meaningful approach yet. And we know that Arsenal and possibly Chelsea will be in that race. I think Victor Osimhen and Manchester United has a bit more history, but again, the overall cost of that would require a significant amount of sales, potentially even the departure of not just Marcus Rashford and Anthony, Casemiro off the books potentially, but maybe even one of the existing strikers such as Rasmus Højlund if the right kind of offer came in. So it's one thing liking those names, it's another thing navigating in the market in a way that keeps you PSR compliant. At the other extreme, there's Dusan Vlahovic with a year left on his contract, but we have to wait and see whether his position changes under Igor Tudor and he's prepared to sign a new deal. You've got Jonathan David available on a free transfer. Somewhere in the middle of those two extremes, there's Liam Delap, who's on Manchester United's radar as well. So I think they'll spend, and I believe they'll find a way to balance the books in order to prioritise a number 9, and therefore the overall outlay in that specific position may not be as difficult as then backing that up with other signings. But if you think collectively and you say they might need a wide attacker, they might need a central midfielder if Christian Eriksen and Casemiro go, Lindelof's departing, Harry Maguire obviously got extended. My expectation is he won't be forced out the club, but he'll have to think about his role and his minutes in relation to the 2026 World Cup. So do you add another central defender? That's where the links with Jared Branthwaite come. But that's what I mean, that if you say one number 9, it might be doable. If you then add Jared Branthwaite, it's clearly not doable. So you have to pick between profiles and targets and work collectively to fulfill what you need rather than only individually, which is why sometimes when you have your wish list and your reality, you have to prioritize the positions that are most urgent. And I think for Manchester United, if they generate budget, the number 1 requirement is to bring in goals. And then from there, everything else at the moment is a series of moving parts.
Yeah, exactly. Could you see Man United to raise funds? Could you see them sending one of the fan favourites like a Kobe Mainu, for example, or Garnacho? I know that that is conflicted in the fan base. Many people don't want us to sell the young players. I don't believe it's what Man United are about. I've throughout my life supporting this football club, I've never seen United sell their up and coming players, their best young players. But will Man United be forced into a corner to get players that fit Ruben Amorim's system, so to speak?
I don't think they'll be forced into selling assets that they really want to hold on to, because as I've just alluded to, they've got a range of other players that you can either get the wage off the book or you can get the wage off the book and a fee. So the priority will be those that already are almost prejudged as not being part of the project. Lindelof's going to depart. Eriksen is expected to leave. Open to offers for Casemiro. Anthony wants to stay at Betis. Manchester United want to find a solution there. In addition to that, we know that Marcus Rashford and Manchester United could well be over. And ideally for Manchester United, you bring in the money for Jadon Sancho and hope that Chelsea don't pay that 5 million penalty fee. So then when you think of other players, there's already 4 or 5 there that can generate income and free up your wage bill. The appeal clearly in selling reluctantly Garnacho or Mainu is that's pure profit on the books. So it puts you in a very strong PSR position. Whereas if, for example, you entertain an offer for Rasmus Højlund, it's going to be lower than the total package you paid and a book loss. So that's not as appealing as maybe trying to stick it out. I think of the two, I'm more inclined to believe from sources that the Kobbie Mainoo situation is an element of grandstanding from all sides. But if you strip away the media narrative at the moment, Mainoo's preference is still to find a way to stay and extend. And Manchester United are on the same page there. So even though it's true that Chelsea and others are monitoring that situation, I think it is more likely at the moment, in a changeable situation, of course, that Mainoo stays. Garnacho is a little bit different because we know that they were much more advanced in speaking to suitors in the winter market. Chelsea were there but decided not to bid. And at the same time, Napoli were looking to strengthen in that area, but their valuation was slightly lower than Manchester United. So that gives you a bit of a clue that says they're not that desperate that they're going to do a cut price deal. But if the kind of 70, 75 million euros number or around that ballpark with preferable payment terms is made, then Manchester United might be prepared to entertain that possibility. Again, reluctantly, because unlike some of the other names, Garnacho is a player that Ruben Amorim would prefer to keep. So we can never say never, but neither of those exits are guaranteed like some of the other names that I've mentioned.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm looking forward to this summer because it's going to be an eye opener, so to speak, because it's really for me, it's Ineos's first real transfer window in regards to last summer. It was Erik ten Hag. It wasn't, this is their guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing whether they back him or not. Of course, there was rumors. I don't know how true it is about Bruno and Real Madrid. Would you think that Man United would entertain an offer for Bruno? I mean, it was quoted as 90 million. Do you think Manchester United could entertain an offer for Bruno, being over 30 years old now, getting into the twilight years of his career?
No, nothing in that, as far as I'm aware, downplayed by both Manchester United and Real Madrid sources. I think for Real Madrid, as we know, they're going to bring in Trent Alexander-Arnold. They might add a centre-back. And were they to strengthen in the centre of the park, it's perhaps more likely that they go for kind of number 6, capable of getting box to box, but more a 6 than an 8. I don't see them necessarily strengthening with the kind of profile of Bruno, who wants to get forwards, wants to be versatile, wants to take free kicks, because the logic will likely be that Jude Bellingham will have that ability to have the freedom. And if both Bellingham and Bruno Fernandes are playing together, then it can be quite difficult because they like to flit all across the front line. You got Mbappe, who will drop deep into an advanced 8 or 10 role or false 9 as well. And you got someone like Vinny Jr., if he's the one playing on the left-hand side, that likes to cut into a central area too. So I sense if Real Madrid spend big money, it would be more in that centre of the park for a kind of 6. And even then, there's no guarantee that that kind of profile arrives. I think number 1 priority has been reached, which is a right-sided fullback. And remember, Trent Alexander-Arnold can go into midfield as well. And then now we'll have to wait and see what else Real do. And it might well be that they enter the race for a centre-back, which is why we're starting to hear links, for example, with Dean Huijsen. If Bruno was to depart Manchester United in the longer term future, it's worth noting the Saudi interest is still there. But remember, it was only last summer that we had the same speculation about Bruno leaving, and then it was Saudi Arabia, and he met directly with the Manchester United hierarchy and he reaffirmed his commitment to the club. And they underlined to him at that point how important he was to the project as well. He's ultimately captain, leader, one of the first names on the team sheet. I don't think, like I said before, Manchester United's finances are so dire that they necessarily have to find that 90 million for a star name. And unlike Garnacho, the Bruno Fernandes appeal, even though you could say, as you reference, age and fee might be something that you consider if it's astronomical, but it's not like Garnacho where you're saying, okay, it all reflects positively on the books. So I'm not aware of anything advanced between Bruno Fernandes and other clubs. It's true, of course, he has suitors and lots of people appreciate him, and Saudi in particular, because they're not averse to paying big money for someone of his age, definitely have him on the radar. But are there any talks? Not that I'm aware of. Is there any fear within Manchester United that either the player would want to leave or they'd be forced to sell? Again, I'm not aware of any of that at this stage. It's all smoke and without any, at this stage, substance.
Yeah, for example, Cunha leaving Wolves or wanting to leave Wolves this summer. Can you see Man United making an offer, a cheeky offer for Cunha? Obviously, the price tag is going to be a bit of an issue as well. If he leaves Wolves, or do you see him going elsewhere?
Well, he'll leave Wolves. I think that's the reality. And I think club and player are on the same page there. And this was one of those renewals with a view to an exit to set a price at market value that all parties are happy with, whether it's triggered or whether it's matched or whether there's a bit of negotiation. The bottom line is that Cunha's not going to be cheaper than 55 million and he's not going to be more expensive than 65 million. At the lower extreme, you'd be offering maybe preferable payment terms or add-ons on top that are gettable to try and bring down the initial cost. At the higher extreme, you'd basically be adding a couple of million to the release clause and getting more preferable payment terms, or you just trigger it. But that release clause at 62.5 million is viewed by the player, viewed by several suitors, and viewed by Wolves as acceptable in terms of its number. There's always a bit of wiggle room. There's always a bit of finessing around a deal. But Cunha's going to leave, and I think it will suit all parties. Wolves can spend that money. Cunha can move to either a Big Six club in the Premier League, or no doubt would have some kind of interest abroad as well. Are Manchester United going to enter the race? Well, again, I come back to what I said before. If you've got 62.5 million, you're putting 62.5 million first and foremost on a number 9. And even though Cunha can play as a forward, he's basically a wide attacker. And that, I think, would be Manchester United's secondary position in which they might strengthen. But let's first of all see whether or not they choose to put that type of funds, and also whether they allocate the left side, because you could argue that equally there's need to find a right-sided attacker as well, or maybe somebody that's comfortable like Pedro Neto when he joined Chelsea of playing across both sides. I think Tyler Dibbling is another one to watch. I know we hear this number 100 million from Southampton, and it may be genuine at this stage because they're trying to send a message to the market that they're going to do all they can to keep him in the Championship. But I'd be very surprised if Tyler Dibbling is still a Southampton player in the Championship next season. And I'd be equally surprised if somebody lands him if the number is anywhere near £100 million. Eventually, if you go down, you have to settle for good money, and good money for Tyler Dibbling is arguably 50, 60 million, not 100 million. And let's see whether anyone's even prepared to pay that amount. Because again, if you're offering somebody, I know they're different profiles, different sides, Cunha on one side, Dibbling on the other, and you're basically saying they're both 60 odd million, everyone's going to take Cunha all day long because one's a much more proven Premier League player with a high ceiling. The other's a young player with a lot of potential, but he's not quite there yet. And he's not starting every game in the second half of the season. So I think most suitors are waiting for Southampton to likely, I think we can say with all due respect to Southampton, inevitably go down. And then when you come to the table, is the number still 100 million, or is that grandstanding to try and scare off the market? And if Manchester United understand there's a lower deal to be had for Dibbling compared to Cunha, they might go down that route as well, because we know Jim Ratcliffe is trying to lower the average age of the squad and he's trying to invest in homegrown talent. And that's a big priority within the next sort of 5 windows or 5 years within this strategy that Ineos are trying to implement. So Cunha is possible, I guess, because Manchester United appreciate him. But the other thing about Cunha is there'll be a few clubs out there that are a bit reticent at this stage about the player's discipline, about some instances of poor attitude, about the fact that he's speaking in the media. And that's not to say he's a bad egg or anything, but he's clearly confident and backs his ability. And sometimes when you're not at the biggest club in the world, with all due respect to Wolves, and you feel you need to make a step up, like Wesley Fofana did Leicester before he moved to Chelsea, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of talking. But then when you move to that big club, you got to back that up. And you got to realize you might not walk straight in. You might not be starting every week. There might be better players than you at the football club. So there will be due diligence from the likes of Manchester United, Aston Villa. Chelsea's interest is only really historical at this stage. And they'll have to understand whether or not they feel they can change the character a little bit to fit within a dressing room full of many talents and many egos, or whether actually they feel he's the right kind of footballer, but potentially the wrong kind of character for their football club. And I think this is what everyone's looking at the moment. And I think back to kind of, I know it's not an exact comparison, but Anthony standing on the ball and then doing his 360, and everyone laughed about it. It became a bit of a meme, but several people within Manchester United, maybe with the fan base as well, not particularly happy about that. It was nonchalant. It was lazy. It was a little bit arrogant. So Cunha's got a little bit of that in his locker room as well. And sometimes it pays off because he's just unbelievable and wins a game, and you take it and you celebrate it. But other times you want that kind of left-sided attacker to do what Anthony Gordon does and get all the way back to his own corner flag and pitch in defensively. And that's not really in Cunha's game at the moment. And I think within the profile Manchester United are looking for, they'll want that kind of character that can do some of the dirty work as well. So the jury's out with Cunha. And again, I'm not aware that there's anything advanced between Manchester United and Cunha yet.
You're spot on in regards to mentality, work ethic. I mean, I remember Ryan Giggs used to get the ball from the defensive line and take the ball all the way up the pitch. And I mean, he weren't flashy, like, you know, doing like skills and stuff like that, like Anthony was against Arsenal that time. But you do things like that when you're going to win, when you're winning the game 2-3-0. It's okay, but you know. The position that Man United in, obviously we're way beyond luxury players at the moment. And I feel like when Alex Ferguson was at Man United, he used to get to know the personality more. He used to get to know the player, the person, before he would actually sign the footballer. And he'll get to know the family, his personal life, etc., etc. And I feel like this is where Man United have gone missing a little bit in regards to going into one direction. We're buying players from all different clubs. Yeah, they're talented players, but do they fit Manchester United? And that's the thing that we need to change at our football club, in my opinion. The mentality, I mean, it's football number one, most importantly. You know, Anthony is done really well at Real Betis, scoring the goals. I mean, I believe he's found his club. I mean, sometimes you can play for a club, but it's just not your club. I think he's found his level, in my opinion. No offense to Real Betis. I just feel like he's going to be a better player for them than for us. Do you see Real Betis making that deal permanent, or they're going to go for another loan? Because there was talk about another loan, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think financially it's easier for Betis to do a loan. Of course, we wait and see whether a second loan offer, for example, has an obligation to buy, in which case it's as good as a permanent transfer, but it's just set up in a way that's more beneficial for Betis. Might be a loan with an option, though. I think Betis don't want to buy outright at this point. And from Manchester United's point of view, they also might be happy doing another loan, taking another loan fee, getting 100% of the wage off the books, hoping the value grows further. He becomes even more integral to Betis, and then you still buy him. Because right now, we come back to what I said before about Rasmus Højlund and one or two others. If you just sell Anthony and Betis negotiate a bargain fee, yes, money comes in, but it's a book loss, so it's not necessarily ideal. So I can see a scenario where Anthony does another season-long loan, and then just before or during the summer, we'll understand better whether the parties are going to consider putting in an obligation clause. But as you say, Anthony's very happy. He wants to stay at Betis. So I think the likelihood is that through whatever formula, Anthony will continue at Betis beyond this season.
Fantastic. Ben, that's been brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully I'll have you on again soon. Thank you very much. And have a great day, mate.
Yeah, keep up the good work. Thanks for the questions, and speak soon.
All the best, pal. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Cheers. That was Ben Jacobs, the legend. Ben Jacobs, my favorite journalist. Of course, anyone who comes on this show is my favorite. Absolutely, definitely. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Of course, let me read some of your comments out real quickly. Ricardo, easy to know Cunha's personality and work ethic. There are Portuguese at Wolves. I think I get what you're saying, because you know what, in regards to Cunha, I would say that he has been a bit disappointing for me this season. I mean, I liked Cunha last season. I thought he was really good last season. He was highly linked with Manchester United, of course. Really liked the player. Unfortunately, you know what, this season he hasn't really done it. And Ben spoke about personalities and stuff like that, you know, and basically, I agree. I think that these, you know, you can buy a great player, a talented player, but it's just not got the mentality for Manchester United at the end of the day. Big up Ricardo, of course. Big up Yorkshire Cowboy. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you, mate. Of course, we need to get 35 million for it even. Absolutely, Danny B. Absolutely. Big up, of course. Nice one, Ben. Big up, Ben Jacobs, of course, joining me today. Absolute legend, of course, guys. Let me read some of their comments out. We need less flair players. We need more industrial stuff. I agree. Look, you know what, Yorkshire Cowboy, I was bringing in Ryan Giggs to the situation because Ryan Giggs was a very talented player, a skillful player, but he also did the hard graft. He worked hard. You know, when he was at Man United, he worked hard, and you know, going from one end of the pitch to the other end of the pitch, making a tackle in the defensive line, and then going forward. You know what I mean? And you know, that's what we need. We need players who are going to give 100% for the cause. You know, for the club at the end of the day. And I would say, really, really important that Man United get the right personality at the club, because in the past we've signed talented players, but they've just not been right for Manchester United at the end of the day, guys. Absolutely. Big up Tybog. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well, Tybog. Hope you're good. Big up GG Tribe. What's going on, my friend? Thank you so much, you legend. Thank you very much. Big up the legends in the house today, of course, guys. Really, really appreciate that. Of course, it's been ages since United pissed me off. Let's get back to it. Yorkshire, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, mate, that we're going to be a little bit pissed off tomorrow, so to speak. But you know what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to stay vigilant. We're going to have to stay hopeful. And I will be fine until kickoff, probably. I think I'm okay at the moment. And you know what? I'll be fine up until kickoff, because they'll probably start disappointing me after the first 20 minutes. Against Nottingham Forest, of course, absolutely. LT, what's going on? Big up, Sam Ben. I would like to know if Trincao has for a possibility due to his price and that he's understand Amarin's system, and we are going to buy a second finish striker. As Ben Jacobs said there, LT, that at the beginning, Man United are primarily looking for a striker. They need someone who's going to get them goals. If they're going to sign a number 10, Man United have to offload some players. Man United have to balance the book, so to speak, in regards to Anthony, in regards to Rashford, other players as well across the team. Casemiro needs to be taken off the books as well, and absolute legends. You know what I mean? If we can get that done, you know what I mean? But at the moment, I feel like Manchester United are interested in Trincao, but we need to balance the books as well, as Ben said there. And, you know, I do believe Man United will spend 200 million. I believe that, guys. Who we spend the 200 million on is another story. But I do think Man United will offload a lot of players as well. We already know that Eriksen's going, Lindelof is going, of course, on a free transfer. Casemiro could be gone as well. Anthony, Rashford could be gone as well. You know, it's up in the air about Onana as well. He could be gone. We never know. Maguire could be gone. You never know. There's a lot of players there that could be out of the football club. Very, very soon. Evans is going. Lindelof, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not convinced I'm Cunha myself. Yorkshire, you're not the only one, my friend. You're not the only one. As Ben rightly said, we've gone into the realms of those sort of players before. The flair players, you know what I mean, whose attitude isn't the best. Do you know what I mean? But definitely, you know, we need to look at his attitude. What's going on this season? Because he hasn't been good at Wolves, guys. Let's remember that this season, is he in a position to be, you know what I mean, picking and choosing, etc., at the end of the day? I would prefer Mbeumo is cheaper, a team player. Absolutely, I do as well. As we know, there's a lot of South American players as well Big up Wilshire Cowboy, though, absolutely. Mbeumo carried Brentford to Tony. It was banned and can play multiple positions. Absolutely. Thing is, Danny B, is that Mbeumo will be wanted by other football clubs in the Premier League, of course, which will be obviously determined where he goes, of course. Grayo, big up, Grayo. Big up, you legend. Thank you so much, my friend. Absolutely. Please smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Of course, guys, working hard is a differentiator. I look at the players losing second balls to all opposition. Absolutely, GG Tribe. People underestimate the second ball. People underestimate the work ethic that it takes to be successful. Man United run more than anyone under Alex Ferguson. We worked harder than anyone under Alex Ferguson. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like Man United need to buy personalities as well as the footballer, get to know them, their personal life, etc., and see how they are as a footballer, of course, and see how it goes, of course, which we always used to do. Absolutely. LT, I think that we have a good care of talent youth players and believe that we need to get experienced players in the window and supplement all the youth that already, because they're successful. We need both. I agree, LT, absolutely spot on. It is a balance at the end of the day. It is a balance at the end of the day. And you know what I would say is that we'll have to wait and see what Man United do. I do think Man United need an experienced striker, not like 33, 35, but I'm talking about a striker that is about 25, 26, something like that, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Danny B, Gutierrez, Jasari, and Mbeumo, Bascali on the free. Yeah, Juan Jimenez, actually centre back, and Naipan. Danny B, you know what? I wish you were at Man United doing the transfer decisions, because I agree with all of that, my friend. That would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. Guys, thank you for joining me this show. Thank you, Ben Jacobs, for joining me today, of course, as well. Really appreciate that. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like if you could be as kind. And that would be very, very great of you. Thank you so much. And guys, please don't forget to join me for Breaking Dawn tomorrow. I'll be here live, and I'll be here in the flesh, of course, guys. Alive in color, of course, hopefully. Of course, guys. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox, and more great material is coming your way very, very soon, guys. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, guys. Take it easy, guys. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. Don't forget to subscribe and put on your notifications as well. Very important. Cheers, guys. Peace.